In the future, climate change has led to higher water levels in flood-prone cities. This has forced most people to live nocturnally due to extreme daytime temperatures. With rising waters and ongoing conflicts, the outlook is bleak. Nick Bannister and his friend Emily Watts have adapted to this new reality by starting a business called Tank. Tank enables people to relive their memories. Nick and Emily, both ex-soldiers, have a friend from their army days named Hank, who uses Tank's services. Nick guides Hank through a vivid memory from 13 years ago, using a holographic display and sound effects to make it feel real. Nick compares this experience to a drug, allowing people to reconnect with loved ones and relive meaningful moments. However, he warns that excessive use can be overwhelming, likening it to being consumed by memories. These memories are stored on small flash drives. As they are about to close for the night, May, a walk-in customer, seeks their help in finding her missing keys. Nick is instantly drawn to May and decides to assist her. He gives her a sedative and she prepares to enter the tank. As she relives her memories, Nick observes her morning routine with great detail, including things in her room. Despite noticing where May puts her keys in her bag, and then in the dressing room, Nick continues with the memory. Through this, he discovers that May is a nightclub singer and feels a connection with her when she sings his favorite song, Where or When. After May leaves, they realize she forgot her earrings. As Miami transforms into a deserted place during the day and lively at night, Nick struggles to sleep. He offers Tank services to the district attorney's office, highlighting the city's corruption when a wealthy land baron evades justice due to illness. Nick revisits the nightclub from May's memory, where they share a moment while she sings, and he toasts to her. Later, he returns her earrings and they have a conversation, during which May shares her fondest memory of a secluded house. They share an intimate moment at her flat and continue their conversation on the rooftop. On the rooftop, Nick compares memories to perfume, emphasizing the importance of experiencing them in moderation. They kiss, and May suggests that Nick may not have the right memories yet. Suddenly, Nick's vision blurs in the tank, and he wakes up to a furious Watts. Nick has been reliving memories of May for months, hoping to find a clue about her disappearance. Nick spends countless hours replaying memories of his relationship with May, a risky habit that could entrap him indefinitely. Watts advises him to let go of May and focus on their business, which is declining. Even their loyal customer, Elsa, has stopped visiting. Despite trying to distract himself by sketching memories in his journal, Nick remains unable to shake off thoughts of May. He visits the nightclub where May once worked and seeks clues from her friends, but his search yields no leads. His obsession with her grows. Eventually, Nick resorts to sedating himself to revisit memories of May, where he immerses himself in their past moments together. One day, Nick is startled awake by an alarm set by Watts. Someone pounds on his door, but he dismisses them, shouting that they are closed. Upon investigation, he discovers May's earring in the water. Watts speculates that it may have been lost there for a long time. Meanwhile, District Attorney Avery Castillo assigns Nick and Watts to extract memories from a comatose suspect linked to a drug kingpin named St. Joe in New Orleans. Despite their efforts, they fail to retrieve any results even after 12 hours. The reason is that dying subjects always seek closure, a positive memory to hold on to. Nick shifts his approach, and the projector activates, revealing the suspect's memories. Amidst these memories, Nick spots May, who had once been at St. Joe's Club 5 years ago, although they are there for a different purpose. Nick draws attention to her as she tries Baca for the first time, a highly addictive drug. During the interrogation, Nick tries to calm the comatose suspect, but is interrupted by the prosecutor, leading to the suspect going into shock. Nick takes control again and focuses on May, asking about their last interaction. To his dismay, he discovers that May became addicted to drugs and was St. Joe's mistress. The memories also unveil that May stole St. Joe's supply of Baca before fleeing. Watts already knew about May's struggles with addiction. Devastated, Nick leaves and travels to New Orleans to gather more information about May. He gains entry into St. Joe's Club under a false identity and confronts him, but St. Joe quickly sees through Nick's deception. Joe tortures Nick after learning that he is searching for May. Joe reveals that he hasn't seen May since she stole from him and orders his henchmen to drown Nick. Just when Nick believes it's the end, he sees Watts arriving to help him, causing a shootout to erupt. Watts manages to eliminate some henchmen and targets the water tank, intending to hit Joe. Joe retaliates with gunfire, narrowly missing Watts at close range. Nick seizes the opportunity to overpower his captor and administers some medication. Meanwhile, Watts deals with St. Joe. Back in Miami, Nick has Watts revisit her last interaction with May through Tank. He suspects that May deceived him from the start and took something valuable from him. During their previous conversation, May had confessed her addiction to Bacca and had a heartfelt discussion about her life with Watts. When May wakes up, Nick is furious with her. Although she apologizes for keeping secrets, Nick's anger stems from her negligence that allowed someone to enter a secure area. Watts argues that even with stolen keys, May couldn't have known the access code. It's actually a melody, which she has been studying for months by observing Nick. They uncover that May stole recordings of Elsa Carina, a client who repeatedly relived her encounters with a wealthy lover. Nick visits a local food market, showing Elsa's photo to inquire about her whereabouts. One of the vendors points out a girl who might have information, but she flees, prompting Nick to chase after her. After catching up, he calms her down and learns from her that Elsa was recently murdered, and her son was abducted by someone matching May's description. This revelation sparks Nick's curiosity about May's true identity. While on the hunt for May, Nick is ambushed, with the attacker warning him to forget about May. Back at his studio, they review the memories multiple times for clues and identify the attacker as Cyrus, a corrupt cop associated with St. Joe. The death of the wealthy land baron has raised hopes of breaking his monopoly, but his widow and son stand to inherit everything, complicating matters. Nick pieces together the puzzle as he recalls watching Elsa's memory and recognizing a familiar voice, leading him to connect Cyrus's involvement with the land baron's operations. Nick replays Tamara's memory and discovers that the wealthy land baron was romantically involved with Elsa, resulting in a son who could potentially inherit the vast fortune. Nick theorizes that the land baron sent Cyrus and May to eliminate any evidence of his affair. Believing that finding Cyrus will lead him to May, Nick disregards Watts' attempts to explain that his feelings for May were manipulated and fires her, convinced of his obsession. Despite Watts' plea for him to reconsider, Nick insists she leave and grabs his gun, intending to confront the land baron's widow, Tamara, who resides in the affluent dry lands. Upon arriving at Tamara's estate, Nick is mistaken for one of the performers dressed as Tamara's deceased husband. Tamara's memory is impaired from excessive tank use. Nick confronts her about Cyrus and May's possible whereabouts, but he is promptly ejected by the guards and threatened with a fake execution due to a mark indicating his military service. Undeterred, Nick acquires a boat and tracks May to the old recycling plants.it. Turns out that the person Nick found was not May, but Cyrus. Cyrus reveals that May intentionally chose the song where or when in her memory to manipulate Nick. She researched him and deceived him. In a desperate attempt to escape, Cyrus jumps out of a window to a lower floor, with Nick following closely behind. They engage in a fierce fight, with neither gaining the upper hand. During the struggle in a music room, Cyrus nearly drowns before Nick manages to subdue him. But instead of leaving Cyrus to drown, Nick helps him break free. After sedating Cyrus, Nick takes him to his office and connects him to the tank to explore his memories. Before losing consciousness, Cyrus warns Nick that the truth about May will devastate him. Through Cyrus's memories, Nick witnesses May's initial encounter with Cyrus and learns that she had sought information about Nick from their mutual acquaintance, Hank. Cyrus's memories further reveal that May's relationship with Nick was built on deception. She had orchestrated the loss of her keys as part of a plan to deceive Nick and had studied how to seduce him effectively. The memories also unveil that, despite the deception, May truly loved Nick. When Cyrus killed Elsa, May fled with Elsa's son to an undisclosed location. Nick reveals this to Cyrus, who goes into shock and implies that May did not escape, contradicting Nick's account. In a trembling voice, Nick reassures Cyrus and calms him down. Meanwhile, May knocks on Nick's door, but he rejects her, shouting that they are closed. Cyrus seizes the opportunity to capture May, causing her to drop her earring as they drive away, with May professing her love for Nick. She returned for him. Nick confronts Cyrus about what he did to May, leading to a memory where May speaks to Cyrus, actually addressing Nick indirectly. In her speech, she hints at the whereabouts of Elsa's son and expresses her deep love for Nick. Trapped and seeing no way out, May consumes a lethal dose of Baca and leaps from a balcony to her death, leaving Nick devastated. Consumed by grief and anger, Nick forces Cyrus to relive his most traumatic memory, where St. Joe's men punished him by burning his face for stealing profits. Nick embeds this memory deeply into Cyrus, ensuring he can never recover from it. Just like he did with Tamara, Nick confronts the land baron's legitimate son, Sebastian, who had hired Cyrus to eliminate Elsa and their half-brother to safeguard his inheritance. Tamara had hinted at this, and Cyrus's memories confirmed the missing details. Along with possessing his phone, Sebastian reveals that their half-brother is still alive, and the police have already located him. It won't be long before they arrive. Despite Sebastian trying to grab Nick's gun, Nick remains composed, knowing Sebastian lacks the courage. Sebastian contemplates suicide, but ultimately changes his mind and is later arrested. Nick visits Watts, expressing regret and acknowledging her as his loyal friend who has always supported him. He admits to Watts that he intentionally erased Cyrus's memories, a serious offense. The community swiftly reacts to the land baron's crimes, leading to a revolution. Nick is convicted, but given the opportunity to serve his sentence by reliving his memories with May, hinting at spending the rest of his life in this state. In his memory, Nick shares a condensed version of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, with May symbolizing their reunion and happiness. I hope you enjoy the movie, and thanks for watching.